Request denied. Fox News has learned that the White House officials denied 3 urgent requests for military backup during the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi that left 4 Americans dead. CIA operatives were told to stand down when they asked for permission to assist Ambassador Chris Stevens and his staff. So how does the administration's response gel with the CIA operatives' duty to rapidly respond in times of crisis? Here to weigh in on this is Michael Scheuer, former head of the CIA's Bin Laden unit. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, sir.
Now we have the president yesterday saying he doesn't know what happened on the day of September 11th when 4 Americans died. Is that a credible statement? And would the president have been making the decisions about whether or not to intervene on behalf of the 4 Americans that died?
Yes, sir. So much power has accumulated to the president of the United States that neither the military nor the CIA would act without consulting the White House. Unfortunately, but that's the case. It's very clear, I think, at least my experience within the government, is that the White House told the Pentagon, told the CIA, no military intervention here. And that was, they consigned those people to death for a reason that's not very clear to me, except that their scenario was Libya was going to be a good democratic country, and it's the farthest thing from the truth. So it's just not credible that the president was not personally involved in this.
More and more evidence is coming out. Now, Fox News has reported, as we discussed, that 3 requests for help were denied and that CIA operatives went into the battle anyway and lost their lives as a result of it. We have any evidence at this point in terms of what the president was doing at 5 o'clock on that day with the Secretary of Defense and the Vice President? Did he go to the Situation Room? Did he give orders? And why don't we know whether he did or not 45 days after?
You know, I don't know the answer to that, sir, except that there's such a web of contradictions and perhaps lies involved in this that he's just got to avoid it for the next 10 days. He's got to stay on Letterman. He's got to go to Comedy Central. That's the kind of thing that he needs because people love him there. This is not something that the president would have to come to. It came to the president. That's the way this works. As soon as something came in to the White House Situation Room, it was taken in paper form or as an oral briefing, at least to the chief of staff of the president, immediately. This is not something that gets stuck in an inbox or in somebody's file folder waiting for them to read. This is a situation where you go and address the issue immediately because it's an ambassador in trouble.
It seems, Mr. Scheuer, that now the CIA and the Department of Defense and different generals are giving different stories as to what happened on that day. Do all fingers in the end point to the White House Situation Room, and in the end, the commander-in-chief, in terms of making a decision about whether these Americans could live or die on that battleground?
I think it does. You know, whether or not we can save them is really, we could have saved them is really a separate question. I think we could have, but that's just one guy's opinion. This went directly to the president. That's the way it works in the United States. And maybe he had to get out of the White House to go to Las Vegas or whatever it was, and he didn't want to deal with the problem. But there's no way to get around this being directly the responsibility of the president. And the president decided, for whatever reason, that those 4 people were going to, they were on their own, sir. The cavalry wasn't coming.
Last question. Is that a political decision?
I'll tell you frankly, sir, to me it's just a cowardly decision. It's a decision that is necessary if you're going to be president of the United States. Your job is first and foremost to protect Americans and their interests. This is clearly a case where the president was derelict.
All right, Michael Scheuer, we're going to leave it there. We've got a hard break. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Let us know what your thoughts are going forward.
Thank you.